Yo, what is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Nasty Nate channel. Finally got the 22x14 American Forces on, but that is not why we are here today. I just want to show this off because it always looks so good in the sun, polished wheels. Anyway, we are back at Jesse's shop. Here is the cab from the donor truck, but today we are here to get all of the donor parts for the Suburban. So we got a bunch of dash parts, the cluster, trans lines, all kinds of good stuff for the factory LBZ. And obviously here is the frame. This side of the bed is okay, but we don't really care about that. I think I'm going to take this cross member too, just to have in case I need it. But I think the Suburban one is the same. And then I need the front diff, which is right here, covered in oil or power steering fluid or something. But this has the factory 373s, the Suburban has factory 410s, and we are swapping this in the Suburban. So let's load all this stuff up and bring it to the house for the swap. All right guys, we are loaded down with everything we need for the LBZ Suburban swap. You can see we got the core support. It's kind of covering like everything. Got a few dash pieces. I'm not sure if I'll actually need them. This is a mount for the front diff, but that is on the Suburban. It's an extra one if I need it. Front diff is under here. Power steering pump. Rat's nest of a wiring, whatever wiring, what is this called? Wiring harness. There it is. The Milwaukee chainsaw. We need that at the house. All the intercooler piping, intake, coolant hoses, power steering pump. Ooh, we got a new radio. Might try to get that in the Suburban. But stay tuned. We're going to get all this in the garage, get it organized a little bit, and kind of show you everything we're going to use for the swap. So here we go. All right, guys, we made it back. And before we start this video, I want to show you guys how I clean the engine bay in here. You can see it's a lot cleaner than it ever has been because this thing poured power steering fluid. There was just gunk everywhere. So we got that clean, and I wanted to put this in this video because I wanted to put it somewhere in the Suburban videos, but I didn't want it to take up too much time on a how-to video. So I want to throw all this in there right now. I'll splice in the video right now, and then we will get back to all the stuff needed for the LBZ swap. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna start spraying the Simple Green, and then I'll come back to you tomorrow morning and we'll clean it up. And you can tell literally the first coat that I did yesterday worked really well. It kind of soaked in, and now it just kind of sprays off wherever you spray this stuff. So this stuff is killer on an engine bay like this. I'm sure there's better products out there, but I just wanted to use some Simple Green just because it's good for cleaning really anything, and it's super cheap. So right now I'm going to spray it with a little bit of water, trying to get everything mixed up a little, and then I'm going to start scrubbing.
When I'm with you, there ain't no blue. One thing for sure, my love is true. These walls are white, not the prettiest view, and now I realize my drug of choice is you. My drug of choice is you.
All right, guys, we are in the bed of the Chevy, and right now we are talking about what we need to swap the Suburban to a Duramax. So we'll go over this stuff right now, and I want to tell you I'm missing one thing, which is the rear axle. That is the front axle, but the rear axle from the parts truck was bent. So just picture that right here. We are getting a new one of those, or another one of those, here very soon. But let's get started. So we are going to use the entire core support out of the Duramax truck. So the core support is a little taller and it accommodates the intercooler, but we are also going to use the AC cooler, trans cooler, oil coolers somewhere in here. I think it's behind one of these. Radiator, everything. We are just going to leave all as one piece, and this is going to bolt in just where the factory core support goes. Literally lines up. All you do is drop it on here. We will go over the body mounts in a different video, but we do have to do a body lift in the front of the Suburban and not in the rear. That's a whole different topic. Anyway, we got the full wiring harness for the engine bay, including the fuse box. So this is basically going to drop in to where the factory factory fuse box goes, and then we will hook up power to that, and we'll show you this right here. So this can either come out and we'll use the LBZ fuse box, or we can use this and plug in all the wires to this fuse box, because all of these plugs are exactly the same. There might be a few fuses that we need to change out or relays, but in the wiring video I will show you all of that. All right, next we're going to go over to the motor mounts. These motor mounts are broken. You can see this rubber is like completely torn apart. This is supposed to sit on top of this somehow, but I'm gonna order new ones. I just wanted to show you guys you do need the motor mounts from the Duramax truck, so save those if you can. If not, they're not that expensive. We'll go this way. Obviously, here's the front diff. Every factory Duramax is 373 gears, every single one. A lot of Suburbans are 410s, and some of them are 373s, but the Suburban rear axle is going to be a 9.5-inch ring gear, while the Duramax is an 11.5. So you want the Duramax rear axle, which is why we're going to get one. The front axles are exactly the same, but since the gearing is different from the Duramax, we do want to put the Duramax front axle in there so you don't blow it apart when you put it in four-wheel drive. The next thing you're going to want to do with four-wheel drive is you need the T-case module. So this is basically the computer that tells it what to shift into. The Suburban has, let me see if I can show you that. The Suburban has a different 4x4 switch. It's got the auto four-wheel drive. That is basically for a lighter duty transfer case, and you do not want that in the Suburban. So you need the 4x4 switch right here. Obviously you can see it does not say auto at the top, and we also need the T-case module. Then we need the cluster out of the Duramax. So this is where it gets kind of weird. Some people get scared because of mileage and stuff like that. I'll probably go over that in a different video when I put that in, but the mileage was very close with the swap and the Suburban body, so not too worried about that, but hopefully we don't have any issues in the state of Ohio. Fuel pump, I'm gonna do a whole fuel system video. This is out of the truck obviously, but I think some people have said you need to use this float, so I'm not sure. I ordered new sending units and fuel pump assemblies, but I have this one just in case. I'm going to go over that in a fuel system video. A lot of people do this differently. It's like everyone you talk to does it differently, so I'm going to have a video about that. This is just some random dash pieces. I don't really know if I need those, but I have them. The shifter, you need the shifter out of the Duramax. It has the tap shift on the side, and it has this, you know, the plus and minus button to shift through gears. For the LBZ, this is factory. You can buy one of these for an LLY, I believe. I don't know about an LB7, but you need this with this orange cable, so that will go in. You also need the little piece that goes on the column, the steering column. It's called like a sawtooth, I think. It bolts onto the steering column, and it basically allows you to put it in neutral, drive, reverse, all those gears. The Suburban one is different, so you do need the sawtooth piece out of the cab on the Duramax truck, which I did not pull yet, but I still have it, so I need to do that one day. And then we have the gas pedal out of the Duramax. So you need that and the bracket here. This literally just plugs into the harness under the fuse box, so that's super easy to do. And then I think that's everything. We have the drive shaft from the Duramax truck. which I need to get shortened. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or have to buy a whole new one, but that is one of the last pieces. Okay guys, it's later in the evening. I'm editing this video right now, but I just remembered I forgot to mention a few things, so here we go. For this swap, you're also going to need a lift pump. There's people that do it without a lift pump, but it's just not the easiest, not the best way. The factory fuel system on this truck is not meant to handle the fuel for the LBZ. So we're going to be doing a video on the whole fuel system, I've already told you, but you do need a lift pump for the fuel system that I am going to do on this. Okay, the other thing you guys are gonna need is body lift spacers. What a lot of people do is they'll do a leveling kit type of thing with a body lift spacer. So some people do a body lift on the entire thing. You'll have to do a 2-inch body lift. But a lot of people decide, you know, the rear of these Suburban sits higher because it's on the big leaf spring pack that comes on the 2500s. But the front sits a little lower just from the nature of the 2500. So they'll do a 2-inch body lift spacer in the front, and then in the middle they'll do like a 1-inch spacer or something like that, and then in the rear you will do no spacer at all. And then of course you need longer bolts for all that, so I'm going to do a separate video on the body lift, so stay tuned for that. But I just wanted to make sure you guys are caught up. This is everything you need to do the swap. And then obviously, we have the Duramax, we have the Allison trans, we have the transfer case, all the piping, exhaust piping, intercooler piping, intake, all that stuff right there. Got some other goodies that I want to do on this thing, which is going to be a Y-bridge kit. I'm working with a few different companies to try to get that to happen. Here's the fuel tanks, which we are working on. That'll be in an upcoming video. And I will show you a few things back here that are kind of just everything that you would get with a motor. These are all the trans lines, coolant lines. This is the drive shaft out of the Suburban. I don't know if we can use that yet. I don't think it'll go into the transfer case. Just some other random stuff, but what I just explained to you are the absolute essentials to swap your Duramax engine and trans whole drivetrain into your Suburban. So this is everything for an 03 to an 07. If you have an older Suburban, you have to do some different wiring in the dash because it's basically wired different. The 01 and 02 trucks are wired differently. People have done it. I just have not looked into that because my Suburban is an 04 and my engine is an 06, so I don't have to worry about that. Everything should plug in. We will have to wire a few wires for the wait to start for the glow plugs when you turn the key, but other than that, that should be everything you need for a Duramax swap in your Suburban. So stay tuned right here to Nasty Nate. We are getting this Duramax rolling very soon.